Welcome to the RPG Podcast.
And we are live.
Oh, God, Patton!
Presented by SHEATH. A Time Wheel production.
Cool. Yeah, a little bit. This is professional, though. You're doing great. So what are the headphones actually for?
To lock you in, kind of just like no distractions, no talking over each other, and it's not, you don't have to wear them, actually.
No?
Nope. So if you feel uncomfortable, you just take it off. I don't know, I kind of like it.
Do you?
Yeah. It's weird.
It's different.
And here's why. You hear that? Tiny little thing. There's a tiny little crackle, but that's nothing.
Uh-huh.
But if it gets bad, then I'd pause and we'd fix it. So, all right, here we go. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. We got an in-person interview with a good friend of mine here from Colorado Springs. He owns Balance Chiropractic. He's a doctor, Dr. Max Pohl. Thank you for joining me.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for months, and it keeps getting like rescheduled.
And then just like it should be, we set a date and here we are.
Yes.
It took like 2 seconds to figure out.
I know. Yeah, sometimes you just have to like lock it in. And
if you don't, it just keeps getting pushed further
yeah,
and further back. Yeah.
that's a good sort of message for entrepreneurs and success, is like just making a decision.
Yeah.
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 And going after it.
What does Elon Musk say? It's something along the lines of, if you see what you can make your 10-year plan into your 6-month plan, or your 5-year plan into your 6-month plan. Have you heard that?
No.
Yeah.
That's like some 10x shit, some Grant Cardone, but like I like that better. Take a 10-year plan to turn it into a 6-month plan.
Something, I mean, we're capable of so much more than we think we are.
Absolutely.
On a daily basis, on a yearly basis.
I mean, and I see you doing amazing things. You're very young. Are you 30 yet?
I'm 32.
Okay. Well, still.
Thank you.
I mean, I hadn't even started SHEATH yet, but I see the books you're reading and the philosophy and your mental kind of attitude towards business and life and success, and that's why I really wanted to have you on there, because I'm here because you kind of exhibit a lot of the traits, characteristics that I think young entrepreneurs should have as well. Can you expand on what I just said?
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, seriously, first of all, I really do appreciate that. I think our relationship, you and mine personally, has gone back, 3-4 years now, since I probably moved here to Colorado Springs in 2017.
Yeah.
And to hear that from someone like you, who I've seen quite literally double the growth of their business every single year, plus or minus, is something that I really appreciate.
Well, okay, good. Yeah.
So
then, you're doing the right things. You're reading the right books. We have our mastermind group. I know we don't meet as often as we want to.
We just got to set a date.
Yeah, exactly. And but that's one of the things that other people need to do. And I just saw recently on Joe Rogan, Mr. Beast, the #1 content creator on YouTube, was talking about his mastermind group and how he got to where he was by on a day-to-day, every day. They just met every day, his mastermind group, from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m., to figure out what is YouTube and how to become successful on there. And I think we do it like once a month. We don't do it once a month, but the value's there if we can find the time for, like helping each other grow.
It's synergy.
Yeah.
Right? Meeting for 15 hours? That's ridiculous. But it doesn't have to be 15 hours, right?
No, but if it's something you love, and like that's maybe the 10,000 hour rule, and really just putting in the time. And he was like 18, now he doesn't do that anymore, but when he was getting started, that's what he was trying to just figure out the system, I guess, and find the holes and where they could kind of take advantage of that. And we talk about our or challenges and successes, and sometimes we just shoot the shit, I guess. But that's just one of the principles, is having a group of people that can sort of maybe motivate you to stay on your game and not fall off, like veer off track and stuff. How do you seem very focused. How do you stay so focused, and what's like your mentality on business?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think contrast plays a big part in success, right? Like, people don't know what success is until they've had the lack of success, or the opposite of success, which would be failure. And same thing for focus. So we were talking a little bit earlier. We went and we ran around your woodland park chateau, your mountain chateau,
yes,
and did a little bit of exercise, which was really good. And we were talking about how if you don't have something, that's how you can start to appreciate that something.
This episode is brought to you by Third Eye Cacao. We're so happy to have a brand new sponsor. We want you to support our sponsors because they make these shows possible. Third Eye Cacao is on a mission to preserve ceremonial grade cacao in the world and invite others on a journey from their head to their heart. Cacao is a fruit where chocolate comes from and is one of the most nutrient-dense superfoods on the planet. It has been called the elixir of the gods for its ability to open up the heart. Studies have shown that the same endorphins that get released when you are falling in love for the first time, cacao has the power to induce also. It's like the best feeling in the world, and cacao has that for you here at Third Eye Cacao. Overall, cacao has the powerful ability to begin any day with intention and ceremony. Use promo code TIMEWHEEL, that's TIMEWHEEL, at checkout, and save 11% at thirdeyecacao.com. This episode is also brought to you by SHEATH, the underwear of legends. It is the underwear with the dual pouch system. One pouch for one part of the male anatomy, another for the other part of the male anatomy. Not only is the underwear the most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear, but it also has the most stylish designs and patterns. The fabrics actually have a cooling effect when you put them on for the very first time. Your body will thank you because it's one of the hottest parts of your body. So cooling it down with these special fabrics that SHEATH provides is a nice experience. The proof is in the pudding. We have a 100% money back guarantee on the very first pair. If you don't like it, we'll send you your money back. Go to sheathunderwear.com, use promo code RPG and save 20%. We appreciate your support. Back to the show.
And so, like, I used to be prescribed Adderall for ADD purposes in college. And that was a time in my life when I had no focus. And to start to experience that time of no focus is where I realized, like, holy cow, like, Adderall is not the way, drugs are not the way, medication's not the way. Like, we have this internal pharmacological system within us and inside of us. And it's just, how do we actually tap into that? Through nutrition, through our mindset, I'm really big into meditation and mindfulness exercises and things along those lines. Mm-hmm. And so that's been a huge part from my personal perspective of gaining focus and gaining awareness in where my attention is. And so, in a day where we have TikTok and there's 6-second videos, and we have Instagram and there's, just scroll, and we have these relationships where if you don't like somebody, you can just, swipe left and get rid of them and move on to the next thing. To be able to cultivate focus, I think, is something that can change a lot of people's lives. And from my perspective, that strength, that ability to cultivate that focus comes from sitting with myself every single day for a minimum of 25 minutes, but on a more regular occasion, I'd rather do it for like an hour and a half. Wow. In some sort of meditation, mm-hmm. which you and I have talked about a lot before. Mm-hmm. So that's personally where I think a lot of my focus comes from, is calming my body down when it says get up and, I have to go to the bathroom, or give me another cup of coffee, or there's a whole bunch of emails and text messages that I need to respond to from being a small business owner. It's saying, no, don't do that. Sit, chill, breathe, and keep focusing on what you're doing. And I tell patients this every day in the office, is that it's a mental muscle. Every single time, and you might have heard this before, I didn't create it, but every time that you're sitting with yourself in meditation, or doing, I know you're into the cold baths with the Wim Hof stuff, and your body says, or your brain says, and there's a debate whether or not it is your brain or your body, we can maybe talk about that later, is that it says go do something else, and you say no, you're quite literally doing a mental bicep curl. And how else do you build muscles? You do it over and over and over again. So you might sit with yourself over the course of a couple of weeks and a couple months and create this mental bicep of focus that if you never did try to overcome yourself in quiet time and meditation time, then you wouldn't have it, and you'd be so much more likely to lose focus and
Get
to
distracted.
look towards all the shiny objects.
Yeah. Hey. There's a squirrel.
Shiny object.
Yeah. So I break up my meditation into two separate. I do a morning one right when I wake up, and then one after like lunchtime when you're kind of in that little 3 p.m. down energy kind of time frame. And when I'm doing it right, and I just found like the perfect mantra, and I can't tell anyone, I'm sorry, but you got to find your own kind of thing anyways. And that's part of the deal I have like with Transcendental Meditation. I went and got trained to do the meditation, which it's like you have to train and meditate. In this particular style you do, it tells you it's a mantra. And I mean, everyone's heard it, but the practice, when I'm in it, when I'm deep in it, I feel it's like bliss, and I feel like I'm in this ocean of like nectar, like golden nectar, and it's just this warm, rejuvenating energy field that and it. I know when I'm done, because it's like, okay, you're done. Like you're good, and it's usually I only do like 10 or 20 minutes each time. Except when I need a good hour, like sometimes your body just needs it, and you're in it, and I'm like, I don't want to get out of this. I feel good. Sometimes you have to get out, but if I can just sit there and be in it, I think it's been just for on an energy level, kind of like mental positivity. I don't get as irritated as I was getting frequently over dumb shit, with like my wife or daughter or something. Now it's like, okay, like it's all good, baby. And it's been since around November that I really got into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know what that, or do you have any idea what that, like that mental bliss is? Like what's physiologically happening?
I feel it. I feel like my breath turns more rhythmic, and my innards, my guts and my stomach kind of just like loosen up. It's weird, but I feel like it's just relaxing my entire body, and I go into this weird trance state, and whatever that state is, it's like maybe it's some kind of weird vibration, but I feel like it's rejuvenating energy.
Yeah. The thing that sticks out about what you just said was rhythm, like rhythmic. And so there's a ton of emerging science coming out on this. And one of my favorite people, I think we've talked about him before just interpersonally, is Joe Dispenza.
I love him.
Where what his research is finding is the rhythm between your heart and your brain, when it starts to become in coherence, or it starts to become in unison.
Yes.
Your heart creates a energy field, right, of about 3 meters in diameter, right, which that's huge. And it's a measurable
field or something.
And it's a measurable field all around your body, and your brain. You'd think your brain emits a large electromagnetic field, but the truth is that your heart's is even bigger. And so, if you're sitting in a state where your heart and your brain are in a rhythmic
Coherence
beat, then that's where the rest of your body's going to be in a rhythmic state. That's where you're going to be able to deal with stress better. That's where you're going to be able to deal with focus better. That's where you're going to be able to deal with overcoming and seeing opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise see. Because if you're in a state of incoherence, then you're in a state of stress at some level.
Disconnection, you lost your head, you're not, I feel like when your heart and mind are connected, like that, this is connecting in my mind. Yeah, that coherence, you're one, you're like where you need to be, and now you can go throughout your day and be solid and not like frazzled and shit.
Yeah.
You're centered.
Yeah. And the fact that you can do it in like 15, 20 minutes, right? Like it's a skill. And for some people, the first time they sit down with themselves in a quiet room with gentle music playing and they're trying to get into a state of coherence or meditation, it's not going to happen. The brain's going to wander and the body's going to say, hey, you got to pee. Hey, you're hungry. Hey, you're tired. Do all this stuff. But to have the skill to do it in a short time period like that, 10, 15 minutes like you, and some people can do it way faster, but that's still amazing, is a true attestation to the fact that it's a mental muscle.
Well, I'm doing Transcendental Meditation. It's a specific type, and you just go to tm.org or whatever, and you can either pay for the lessons, and they have different scales. I highly, because I think what you're doing, you're sitting there and you're breathing. Do you take like a notepad or anything? I'm assuming not.
I have.
Good, because I think sometimes you should, because when these ideas come out, sometimes it's better to, instead of dwelling on it, just write it down real quick, and then you can get back to the meditation. And sometimes I find that those thoughts are pretty clairvoyant or something.
Have those thoughts for you been things that have been large movers for growing sheath? Has that ever happened?
I'm not sure. I think probably, but more so it's like taking it out of this open loop in my mind that keeps going. Like, I got to do that thing. I got to do that thing. Oh yeah, I'm meditating now. The important things I need to do are coming up. I'm going to write it down. And once it's written down, I can go back and I might come up with a few things. And I can't think of anything specific where I came up with an idea while meditating that like transformed sheath. But I've been laying in bed and that's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
In a state where you're not worried about things.
Yeah.
I think that's super neat. Yeah, seriously.
Well, that's where the dual pouch, I was like laying in bed and
really,
because it came out, it was a single pouch, and then I had seen another underwear company that had the circular seam part, and I was like, that's interesting. They only had the circular seam, and we only had the pouch thing, and I was like, sometimes when you put things together, it creates a nice little diamond, and so that's where the whole dual pouch thing came from. But it's synergy. That's synergizing. Like sometimes you have an idea for a pouch that isn't from anywhere. You didn't. Like it just comes from God, but sometimes it's like this and that should go together. And I have ideas like that all the time. I'm blank. I had one the other day, and I was like, "Wouldn't it be great if this?" And I forget what it was though, so it's not very helpful. Like, edit that out. Just kidding. What about you? Do you have ideas where they like transform your life?
Yeah, in meditation, it's usually for me more about clearing things out.
Yeah.
It's usually more about creating in the short term, and so one of my favorite ones to do is one called of Dispenza's called the morning meditation, and the idea behind it is that you're quite literally getting into a state of calmness, a state of coherence. Not by focusing on the things that you have to do, but by focusing on internal centers of your body and focusing on the space around those centers. Something called a divergent focus and a convergent focus. And with that, it helps change your brainwaves. And then from there, you go into quite literally, what does your day, how do you want your day to look? And the idea is that if you can create from a state of brain-heart coherence, creating from a state of being not necessarily in your body, but being more of an awareness, right? Being more of a person separate from yourself, separate from what your body needs, then you can create your day in a better way than if you just wake up and roll out of bed and say, well, I know I got to do this and I know I got to do that. And hopefully it all works out. And so that's where a lot of my focus is generally when I do it. But I have had experiences out in meditative type states, like snowboarding. We were talking about snowboarding earlier too. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I can't tell you at least 3 different ideas that I've had just sitting on the chairlift or going down, the mountain on a piece of fiberglass and snow, which I think is a crazy experience in itself, is where I've had really great ideas that have led to doubling our office or bringing on a new practice or a new procedure that has in some way, shape, or form allowed us to help more people at a higher level.
Love that.
So
that happens when I'm running. I mean, and it's more so in the past. And I'll, like, a lot of times I'll be like, you wake up in the morning and you got some issue, right? And like, fuck. And I go for a run. By the time I'm halfway through the run, I have the solution.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, we'll just do that. Boom.
What about that do you think it is? Do you think it's clearing your mind or?
I mean, the movement, the blood, the intention, not necessarily, because I kind of go out with an intention, like to come up with a problem, come up with a solution. The mind, that's its job, but sometimes you got to clear it a little bit, because if you have too many you got to feed the dog and I got to do all this stuff. It's not, you don't maybe let it do its core function, which is like analyzing and solution finding. Because if it's too distracted, it's going to be hard to wade through all of the kind of garbage.
All of the chatter.
Yeah. That's a better term. Yeah. I mean, I call them windows. We've probably all heard that. You have like a computer, and if you have, 30 different tabs open and they're all like running simultaneously, your computer's going to slow down. But if you like close them all and you just have the one Word document open, it's going to be it's going to work
instant, smoothly.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. I like that. I've actually never heard that before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been saying that for a minute, but you don't want to be redundant, like repeat yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Little gems.
That was a gem.
Pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
Put that on TikTok. So, well, you love Joe Dispenza. I love Joe Dispenza. I saw him on What the Bleep Do We Know? I do believe that was a great movie.
Yeah.
Love that one. I saw that like 10 years ago. And that's the kind of thing where it opens your mind about quantum theories of, like the multiple locations of the objects at one time until you turn and look and it collapses into one. But the point is like anything is possible if you're not looking. But then when you look, there's reality. But you can change reality by changing your thoughts on what you're not able to see. And hope, and I don't know, there's like I talk about this magic thing aspect of business that I believe is prevalent. It's real, but I think people either think I'm crazy or just high or something. Like, do you think, because we affect the universe. I think we do. What do you think?
Tell me more about your magic.
Magic in the sense
business.
of visualizing what's going to happen and then manifesting it. It might not be immediate, but like over time, it happens. If you write something down, it's like a spell. Yeah, and it's more likely to happen. And yeah, you're going to go do it, but you just wrote down the spell to what you wanted, which is the thing you want to do. You just write what you want, and then you go do it, and then it's done. And is that magic? It's all mental playing around, but also my vision boards. I put things on my vision board, and then next thing you know, it's a reality. Like where I'm holding that UFC belt in the bottom corner there. 6 months later, I was holding a UFC belt, where that one is just me
putting your face on a UFC belt holder.
Yeah,
That's amazing. No, they say that action is the last step of manifestation, but I think you're 1,000% right in that we do affect the universe. And you mentioned that I love Joe Dispenza, and I love a lot of different teachers, but I used to think that the whole world of spiritualism and meditation and energy and things like that was a whole crock of crap.
Right.
And it wasn't until I started to be introduced to one of his books called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, where he actually goes into the science behind it.
Interesting.
Yeah, where it actually goes into, measurable, objective, reproducible findings and systems of quantitatively measuring these things, where I was like, holy crap. Like there is a reason that these things work. There is a reason why all the stuff that I thought was crap and didn't do a dang thing would have, or does have, like, roots in actual science and actual reasons that it works.
Science changes.
You're trying to go down the political route. We're not going to do that. I'm with science. So I'm 100% with you. I think that doing things like the vision boards, I think writing things down, and trying to get in a state of the feeling, right? A lot of these different teachers talk about
Yes.
the feeling is what we're actually seeking. Abraham Hicks says, if
her.
she's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not about actually getting the thing or creating the thing or achieving the goal. It's about the feeling that you get from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can sit there and I like to do it in a quiet state of meditation, but you can do it
Yes.
while you're driving your car, while you're going on a run, while you're shredding down the mountains on a snowboard. But if you can create the feeling that you're seeking of from that goal or that task or that X or that Y or that Z, then that's quite literally, from the quantum perspective that I think you're talking about, drawing those particles
Yes.
to you.
See? Told you, motherfuckers, I wasn't lying. I'm just kidding. But also, it's that, okay, so on a lot of my vision boards, you can see one dude, he's like, he just want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he's like throwing his, the victory pose. You just won. There's no, like, that moment, that instant in time, that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately that's what we're really chasing. And because that could be, you just bought the house of your dreams, you got married, your company just made 10 million or whatever. You just did a kickflip or something. Whatever you want to do. I cannot do a kickflip. I've never done a kickflip.
No? You said you skateboarded earlier.
I know, I do. I have a skateboard. I ride.
Longboard or a normal
regular,
skateboard?
a good little trick board.
Oh, man.
But I can ollie, I can pop shove it, but I cannot do a kickflip. I've never done one. I don't want to talk about it.
I'll show you how to do a kickflip.
Well, I might. Yeah, okay. Well, all right. Fair enough. But the feeling, that winning feeling, the winning feeling,
Mm-hmm.
when you marry that, couple that with the visualization of the plane, you're walking up the steps of your private jet, and the captain is like, "Good evening, sir. Your seat is ready over here," and your crew's behind you. The limo just dropped you off, and you're like, that moment for 1 second, you can give yourself the permission to be grateful for the work that you did, and be like, I fucking did it. I won. That's that feeling. And supposedly by these teachers, while you're meditating and you're feeling that feeling and you're visualizing you're in the house, you're in the plane, you're in the car, wherever, the store, with the person, you won. That draws it closer, faster, supposedly. But you still have to act, most likely.
Yeah, I think you still have to act. But then, so if you could maintain that and I hope that you can show that picture to everybody, because that is like a magnificent, you can feel what that person is feeling in that picture.
Splice in somebody winning a fight, like Tony Ferguson or Khabib.
Is that so if you woke up and you had that feeling very early on in your day and you maintained that feeling throughout your entire day, how would you act in that day? You would kick ass, you would take names, you would be the best version of yourself with every single person and every single situation that came across your path. But the thing that happens to most people is they only have that feeling when they win the fight.
Yeah.
They only have that feeling when they make a sale in their business, or when they, purchase the house or the car or whatever material thing gives them that short-term feeling of the feeling.
Yes.
And so that's creating something that's coming from something outside of them.
Yes.
And some of the, once again, the teachers that we're listening to, Dispenza being one of them, Abraham Hicks being one of them, Bob Proctor being one of them, Neville Goddard being one of them.
I don't know him. Bob Proctor's the shit.
Look into Neville Goddard. You'd really, really like Neville Goddard.
I think I've heard his name, but is her or him?
It's a him.
Okay.
Yeah. And the science of getting rich. I forget, William Wallace, I think he writes that.
Wallace Wattles.
Wallace Wattles, thank you.
William Wallace was the dude from Braveheart. Anyways, go ahead.
Close.
Yeah.
Is that it's not those external things that should make us happy, right? It's something that we should create within ourselves. And
I love that.
To go through your day and have and have all the crap gets thrown at you, right? The dog poops in the house, and your kids are late from school and they got an F on their report card, but to still maintain whatever it might be, to still maintain that, right? If you don't know, if you haven't seen some of Robert's, Mr. Patton's, I don't know, sort of personal rules. You guys do awesome stuff. You have how many dogs here?
5 dogs.
And they all, in one way, shape, or form, started as like foster dogs, right? You're taking
Except
care
one,
of them.
But yeah.
So you take care of a lot of animals, right? You have guys have a big heart for helping, not just people, right? Mm-hmm. Keep their packages well managed, but also for the animal kingdom, which I think is really admirable.
We try. I mean, we put our not money where our mouth is, but energy and action where people talk the talk. I want to do this, I want to help animals or homeless, but do you do anything, or do you just say you want to do it? Do you just say these political stances but don't really actually do it? I stand with Ukraine or the BLM, or
I put a flag up in my front yard.
Yeah. But are you helping anyone?
Yeah. And you guys are walking the walk and talking the talk.
Yeah.
Every time I come here, there's a different animal in the house that you guys are taking care of, either for a short period of time, or you're like, oh no, we actually adopted that one. He's part of the herd now.
I got stuck with a few. But
I think it's so cool though.
Mostly my wife. I just want to give her most of the credit on that. But I do help her, and
And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So those applications of dog pooping in the house is a real thing. But if that dog can poop in the house, right, or maybe all 5 of them poop in the house, and you wake up and you just have 5 big piles of
10 dogs and 10 shit. They were puppies last year around this time, and I was cleaning up so much shit.
I remember that. I was here the puppies day the puppies were born, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
yeah, we came up here. Yeah, we came up here. We got some underwear, and one had just got born on my, on me. The dog was on me, and then the puppy was on my side right there. Anyways, yeah, so all circles back. But I think if you want to finish what you were saying about if you can have a positive attitude during all that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think of it as different more than as being different, more so than just a positive attitude. But it's maintaining that internal state of homie over there, who just won a fight, or just won a belt, or just won, the biggest deal of his life.
He just head kicked this
as much as you can.
The guy was just knocked out.
Is that what happened?
I don't know, but he looks like he
did something pretty awesome.
Yes.
And so if you can maintain that state throughout the entire day, regardless of what happens to you, from the What the Bleep Do We Know movie's perspective, is that you're quite literally taking those particles that are bouncing back and forth between here and other dimensions, other universes, other galaxies, whatever you want to think about it, and whatever the science is currently saying it is, and you're conforming them more and more into the matter in which you are actually seeking. So you're conforming them more into, the new house, the private jet.
Yeah.
And if you can maintain that state even after you actually achieve those things, well, one, you'll realize that those aren't what you're seeking.
Right.
It's
temporary.
All those things happen. They're temporary.
Yeah. They
come and they go, and it feels good to have it, and feels good to acknowledge it and pat yourself on the back for making it happen. But life's a moving target.
Yeah, that's not lasting happiness. The things, money, it does come from within, and Like if I could sustain that feeling of the dude, like we got Chuck Liddell over there, and he just did a knockout, right? And I don't know if it's sustainable, but something along that line of victory. I'm good. I'm complete. I'm content. This is how you would treat everyone. You'd be so happy and so positive. Like, hey, dude, it's all good. Like, it would be amazing. I don't know if that's necessarily possible, but it's something I want to aim towards. And all my new vision boards always have someone winning some fight.
Well, you're right. I don't think that it's continually possible, right? But then there's something called emotional intelligence, which is the idea that if you can create that feeling from within and something bad happens, whatever that might be, you lose the sale, the dog poops on the rug, who cares, whatever, that how quick can you get back to it? Because what most people do is they have something bad happen to them and they stay in that state until something good happens to them. And so once again, they're back in the automatic program of I feel based upon what outside of me is telling me I should feel.
Yes.
So if something good happens, I feel good. If something bad happens, I feel bad. And when you're doing that, you're not a creator of your life. You're not a creator of your day. You're not a creator of your business. And you're more just being subjected to the circumstances, the happenstances of your external environment of life.
Yeah. Instead of you like being a well from within and overflowing with positive love, joy, content, consciousness, when those arrows come at you metaphorically, you're just like Neo or Buddha.
Yeah,
Just stop.
you're Neo in the Matrix with the bullets.
Yeah, I mean Buddha actually did that with arrows. I don't know if you remember that story. And because like the devil shot up like 1,000 arrows at him, and he was just like, and they all turned to flowers and dropped.
Yeah.
Because he's like that. So meditation, I think, is a tool to build the well within, visualizing, practicing, feeling those feelings while you're visualizing. And yeah, like if you can, I like how do you want your day to look? You were saying like starting your day out with an intention, which I have not been doing. I typically just kind of like 0 point center, but no, I need to start setting some more intention. I think I've been maybe missing that part of the
I mean, you seem to have a pretty good sort of flow throughout your days, right?
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better, especially with consistent meditation. I can't like recommend it enough. There's so many positive benefits to it. Energy, positive, mental, relationships.
Dealing with stress.
Yeah, stress. Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, as somebody whose goal is to double or grow their business every single year, like I'm imagining that comes with a couple bits of stress every single day.
It does, especially because you're not like we're in a recession. We happen to be in it's what seems like a little recession at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite piece of I guess you could say information associated with meditation and stress was a research study that was performed and I tell a lot of people about this in the office because a lot of people come to our office really stressed, right? And they think that, they're going to go to the chiropractor and the chiropractor is going to pop, twist, and crack them, and we don't do any of that, by the way, but that's going to help fix them. And the truth is that, I can help you as much as I can help you, but if you're walking around saying, subconsciously, I hate myself, life sucks, why does this happen to me, a million times throughout the day, and the statistics say that it's like 90,000 times per day that we have thoughts, and 80% of them or more are the same thoughts as the day before, then how much can we help? And so one of my favorite pieces about meditation is that they did a pre-post MRI study where they quite literally looked at different parts of the brain, looked at different sizes of those parts of the brain, and they did an image before and after 8 weeks of meditation where people meditated for just 20 minutes a day. So not sitting there, for 3 hours and doing morning and evening or, doing anything crazy, but just 20 minutes of the day. And what they found is that after 8 weeks, 20 minutes a day, the average participants, the part of their brain that deals with stress grew, and I could be slightly off from this number, but it's pretty specific. It was 22.8%. And so the size of that area grew 22.8%. Could you ever do that with a muscle in 8 weeks?
Right?
No, not with drugs, not with anything.
No, a quarter, 25%, basically. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane when you think about it. And people can't find 20 minutes a day to change their lives and to change how they deal with stress.
It took me 10 years because I started looking into TM when I was about 30. I Googled it. I love Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and he trained the Beatles and like a lot of athletes and artists and stuff, how to meditate. And I kind of grasped how to do it from the videos. And I got it. I know I got it because when I do it now, I remember having done it back then. And it was like this bliss, this sweet nectar of, warm nectar. Anyways, you're like swimming in a pool and it's just like so pleasant. Anyways, so you wouldn't forget it. But I stopped doing it. I forgot how to do it. There was this weird thing. So just like a few months ago, I went ahead and bit the bullet and paid the $1,000 to get the training. And he basically just said, "This is how you do it." And I was like, that's how I was supposed to do it. I knew that, but him telling me reinforced it. He gave me a new mantra. I didn't love the mantra, so I picked a different mantra. And now it's changed again. And the one I have now is like golden. It's the one I had back. Your mantra can get messed up though, so you have to be careful with your mantra. So don't tell people it. If you associate it with like a person or a thing, it can really like, when you try to meditate and say it, then all of a sudden you're thinking about that person or thing instead of nothing, which is no thing. Like the mantra is supposed to be something that's just doesn't, it's like a Sanskrit kind of, that you wouldn't understand what the word was. It's just a sound that doesn't have any affiliation. Okay. But I forgot where I was going with that. Tell me where I was with that. Because
you stopped meditating. You started meditating again.
Yeah. I had stopped a lot. Like and by redoing it now for the past 4 months, I do it consistently daily. Instead of back then, I was like, oh, I just need to do it when I feel like doing it. No, be proactive.
That's like saying you need to eat a salad just when you want to be healthy.
Right.
I feel unhealthy. I'm going to have a salad.
See? Yeah, exactly. And that's where I was in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, I just meditate when I feel drained. And anyways, that's not a horrible idea, but just do it daily, consistently, 10, 20 minutes a day. For TM, you're supposed to do 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. And I for sure do the morning. I try to do the afternoon. And I usually do the afternoon, but not every time. Yeah. And it's just consistency, the consistency of my life, being able to do these lives twice a week. RPG channel, check us out, subscribe, like right here on the button, right here, press the button. I used to be just like from like 2015, which SHEATH was operating, to 2018. I couldn't even like have meetings with my team. I would be so sleep deprived, so like shot out energy wise. I was like, just deal with it, like figure it out type thing. And now we have 2 meetings every week, our Monday morning meeting and our Thursday meeting, which is like a committee meeting of a special budget or social or whatever, inventory, a couple other ones. And then my lives, and I've been doing a weekly podcast consistently, and these conversations could be stressful. Like I'd be like, fuck, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to look stupid or whatever. Now we got the store, and so I need my energy to be consistent, and so the meditation helps. Big time. Yeah.
I'm excited to see the store. Yeah. We popped in there the other day when we were coming back from skiing, like I told you, but I really, really do think that with the product that you've created and with the following that you've created of people that love that product, like you're going to have people fly in from all parts of the country, maybe all parts of the world, just to be like, I went to the SHEATH, their just their retail store.
Yeah. The one retail store
The one retail store that's hidden in the mountains of Woodland Park, Colorado.
Yeah, we're gonna get that artist, the Artistic Gold that you recommended, that did your wall at your location.
Dude, amazing work.
Oh, I know.
Have you looked into him more?
He came and visited.
Did he really?
Yeah, we're already in the process. Michael, what is it? Artistic Gold?
His name, Artistic Gold is the name of his company. Michael's his first name. I can't say his last name.
If you find him on Instagram and he's amazing. That wine cellar thing he's doing, I don't know if he showed you. He's like they have like a small actual wine cellar that's like a very small room, but then he drew what looks like a long corridor of wine cellars.
Yeah.
And it looks like real.
Yeah.
And what he did with your mountain thing with the black lights.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do something like that for us.
Something with mountains and black lights?
Yes.
Cool.
We're going to have a hero and a SHEATH logo in there somewhere, but
I was going to say, you should make it fun.
yeah, it's going to have like a hero at the top of like doing the victory pose. Like that's my jam. These victory pose, like these images of people winning, is just one of my favorite things to remember for visualization.
So you were saying like this is your power pose.
Yeah.
Right? Do you ever listen to any Tony Robbins stuff? You like him too?
Love him.
So do you walk around ever? Like if you're ever not feeling like the feeling that you want from that, do you ever walk around and physically create that pose?
Yes.
Just to like get yourself more in that state?
I've definitely walk around and do the pose to maybe reinforce the state, or I might like not quite be where I want to be. If I'm like super down, I don't think I ever think of why don't you do a power pose. But if I'm kind of like I need to be a little bit better, I'll like add because there's like a physiological corresponding like reaction when you do the pose.
Yeah,
because it's like the reverse. You do it when you win, but if you do the pose, then you feel like you won.
Yeah. You're just the same thing, right? You're creating like, you're creating the feeling before you actually have the external thing that would cause the feeling.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things of Tony Robbins.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I have this trampoline over here. Mm-hmm. That's his trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
Not his, but
he's big on the mini tramps.
So yeah, because he gets pumped up before he goes out on stage. Have you been to one of his events?
Never.
Okay, but you went to the Joe Dispenza one. You said it was like the best day of your life or something, or best event when you came out of it.
So it's tough at first, right? You go to those events and you literally sit in meditation for, I want to say 6, and some days maybe 8-10 hours.
Okay.
Right. And in between you're eating lunch and you're talking to people, but he's also lecturing in between, kind of giving you some knowledge as to why you're doing what you're doing there. But the first couple of days at your first one, like it's mentally taxing.
Interesting.
And then something happens. And that something is something breaking loose, something that you're letting go of, something that you energetically are moving towards. And when that happens, it becomes, according to their internal surveys, 96% of people say that it's the best week of their life when you go to a week-long retreat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. That's
like
96%.
96% of people say
I want to go.
I need to go.
Yeah, I need to go. It's just like a commitment. That's like how many days is it?
It's a week. It's like Sunday to Saturday or Saturday to Sunday or something like that.
Did you have one of your partners take over for the
run the
shop?
office? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I call it the shop.
The shop.
It's not a shop. It's an office.
The office.
Chiropractic office.
Yeah.
You do an interesting. Because I do want to talk about Shift Happens. You got on your shirt here, and you're a chiropractor, and I've been to a couple different ones. I think you were actually the first one I went to, though, and you do the adjustment of the atlas bone, something it's ever so slightly, and then it helps realign from the top down your spine. Where I ended up going to one that was by my house for a couple months before COVID, and he did the crack and pop thing. But then I realized you're just doing the same thing every time. You're not adjusting to if I have something here or there or wherever. It's like you just do the same thing each time, and you just do the same. I can do that on yoga poses at my house, kind of. Honestly, I can. I mean, you cracked me one time, like a normal one, which was great because I was having like an issue where I had like something poking out of my back, and that was cool. Anyways, you're not supposed to talk about it. That was at my house. It was a special occasion. Sorry.
You're good.
But yeah. Anyways, but I felt better, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about your practice and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, most people think of chiropractors as what you described, where you go and you get something cracked and popped or stretched based upon what hurts, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't want.
For some people, it's a great thing. For some people, it maybe just might be a short-term Band-Aid, and that's what people want in some situations. What we do is something called foundational correction, where, as you were saying, quite literally, we focus solely on the top bone of the neck, the atlas bone. And why do you think they call it the atlas bone? Do you remember?
Holding up the world.
Yeah, just like in Greek mythology, quite literally holds up your brain, and your brain controls your everything. And so the top bone of the neck acts as your body's foundation, and if that bone shifts, it doesn't allow the communication electrically to go from your world, right, from your brain down to all different parts of your body. It controls your heart, it controls your lungs, it controls your thyroid, it controls, every little muscle that you need to move when you're running or when you're exercising or when you're doing the power pose. And so our goal is to take 4 objective measurements to see if someone has what we call a foundational shift that all have a range of normal and abnormal, or healthy and unhealthy, just like blood pressure does, just like vision does, just like body temperature does, to first see if someone's a candidate for what we do. And then we retake those measurements after we go through some time correcting the body's foundation without twisting or popping or cracking. We retake those measurements to make sure that we're getting objective change afterwards. And so it's something that's incredibly simple but incredibly complex, and it's work that really does humble myself and the other 2 doctors, Dr. Ernesto Fernandez and Dr. Matthew Hurtado, at our office every single day. Because it's it's based upon a mathematical equation. We take a 3-dimensional CBCT scan, which you actually you need to come check it out. You haven't seen the new
the new one.
office.
Well, I did the one. Yeah.
The new one is amazing. You see things that we have never been able to see before, and it's in a 3-dimensional setting. And so each image that we take on somebody is a whole gigabyte of information.
Like meta.
It's like
virtual reality.
It wouldn't surprise me if they had virtual reality goggles to go with it someday soon, because it's insane. And anyways, we take these images that very precisely measure how the upper neck or how the body's foundation has shifted, and then we correct it using very gentle pressure in a very specific way, and we retake those measurements, the biggest one being the CBCT image, to make sure that we've gotten the objective change. And so even though it seems very simple in nature, and it is, right? We take somebody's head that's like this and try to get it closer to this, and that's
or
the
like
goal.
That. Like if it's leaning forward, if your head is leaning forward, you're putting all this weight on, like unnecessary weight on your spine that causes like issues that you're trying to correct.
Yeah, I mean, your skull weighs 8 to 14 pounds.
Yeah,
it's a bowling ball.
Yeah,
and every inch that it's out of alignment, whether it's to the side or forward, it obstructs or it adds 10 pounds of stress to the body.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it can obstruct electrical communication from the brain to the body. There's actually really, really cool research by a doctor in New York named Scott Rosa, who teaches some of our continuing education classes, where if this bone rotates in a certain way, because blood flow goes up to it, or it goes through it up to the brain, and because the brain has to drain blood back to the body so it can be recycled by the liver and reprocessed and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you don't want old blood in your brain.
If that happens, and it can, and there's measurable MRIs pre and post where you can see obstructed, dirty, wasted cerebral spinal fluid and blood flow, that if you correct that, like some people describe it as flushing the toilet.
Wow.
And so people that have had traumatic brain injuries or been blown up in combat or had whiplash or head injury, whatever it might be, they can shift that area, and that can cause memory issues, brain fog, inability to focus, headaches,
dude, well,
all sorts of different things.
The fact that, I was going to you for quite a few months. I remember you wrote me a doctor's note. That was awesome. and I stopped. When I went, I was in pain. Like it's like a last resort type of. Something is wrong. Like I'm willing to do whatever to fix it. And over the course of time, I think the changes are very subtle.
For a lot of people, they are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe not.
It's just like meditation.
Yeah.
Right? You don't get done with one meditation and you're just like, wow, I'm enlightened.
But I remember the first time I went to you, I was like, whoa, I definitely felt something. And then going forward, it was like incrementally better. And then at some point I just moved too far to be able to go back. But I also wasn't like in pain anymore. Like,
that's awesome.
I'm just, it was whether it was you or whatever, we'll just give you the credit.
Thanks.
And also like the healing hands thing. Like there's something I think people like about going to a chiropractor. It's just like quick and put your hands on me and not placebo-y kind of like I did something. I did something and now I feel better. I don't know.
There could be a lot said about that. We live in a society where people aren't too hands-on.
Yeah, exactly. We're like disconnected. Yeah.
I mean, especially over the past 2 years now. We're sitting in March of 2022. We're at 2 years of people being told that shaking hands and being within 6 feet of each other and hugging and hanging out is something that could be detrimental to their health unless they're taking certain precautions. And that's another conversation. But yeah. So we live in a disconnected society, and from an energetic perspective, kind of going back to what we've been talking about, if you have the intention of helping me, of seeing me as a fully functioning, feeling well member of society, a human being, right, a peer that you want to intend to help, then there's power behind that. There's energy behind that. If your focus is there, maybe wrapping it around to where we first started, then you have a much better chance of creating that change within my electrons and protons and neutrons that are bouncing back and forth between here and wherever.
Yeah, I mean, reverse that, because you're the one doing the thing, and I think with your intention on your patient and their intention combined with the science, the mathematical equation that this works, and there's evidence, and I'm going to do this thing, and it's going to, and I think all of that combined is more powerful than just their intention alone or your intention alone or just the thing alone. Like it all can work synergistically. We've said that a couple times. Like and compound the effect for positive. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of doctors can treat the same illness with different, like 3 different methods, and they all work. So. But I think your chiropractic method is the least kind of invasive. You're not doing these crack your neck thing. I didn't really like that. Even though I kind of felt better maybe sometimes, but just break. Okay, are you ready? I don't love it. Yeah. I'd rather just do the light pressure on the atlas and get your spine aligned. I mean, that's what it basically boils down to then that's your central nervous system.
It's the gateway between your brain and your body.
Yeah.
The opening in the skull. I was looking for my model. We're not at my office. I don't have my model here.
Oh no.
The opening in the skull, right, where the brain turns into the brain stem, turns into the spinal cord. They call that the mouth of God.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's bound. What say? And that's where the blood flows and.
I mean, it's the junction between the brain and everything else.
Yeah.
And so once again, twisting, popping, cracking isn't a bad thing.
Loosen it up.
We're trained to do that in chiropractic school. And if you find a good person at that, a Gonstead practitioner or a CBP practitioner, somebody that does a real technique instead of just going through your spine and crunch, 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 crunch. Okay, come back next week when it hurts again. Yeah, or tomorrow when it hurts again. Like it can do great things.
Do a gym thing.
Our goal is really just to precisely tune.
Yeah.
This very, very delicate, this very important, this very unstable and very mobile area, so that the electricity, the cerebrospinal fluid, the blood flow between the brain and everything else can function better. And you know, anecdotally speaking, when we do host meditations at our office, and there's a handful of patients that are like, oh, you guys do chiropractic, I'm gonna come and check you guys out.
Smart.
You know, several of them have come back and said like, oh my goodness, now my meditation, right, is at a place that it wasn't before.
Right.
And from my perspective, well, that makes sense, right? If you have a big kink in your spinal column, especially the most important part of your spinal column, where things can't communicate back and forth, then how could your self-awareness be? How good could your breathing be?
Yeah, you're like get this discomfort thing, and you're trying to meditate and like be one with the universe, and you're like, you know, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think having that corrected would drastically improve meditation.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I came here to talk about, meditation, not necessarily what we do at the office.
And I love, we just tied it in. I wanted to get a quick plug, Balance Chiropractic, Colorado Springs.
Thank you.
You can use promo code BALANCE at sheathunderwear.com and save a couple bucks. Some people still use that code.
Do they really?
I think it's on some sort of honey or discount code website,
Oh, really?
but people use it all the time.
Really?
So I don't know if I'll have to check if they're from Colorado Springs or not.
Seriously, that'd be great, because we have it on our website.
Okay, good.
It's on our website.
Yeah, I get them
but it's
all the
only,
time.
and then it's also on our, it's on like a special part of our website, and then it's also on our, in our office. We have a little screen with your logo, and
I remember.
And yeah,
The other couple of friends and local businesses that it rotates through.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
awesome, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I tell people about it.
Well, and
Yeah.
you'll have to tell people that when the store is open that we're local now, and like you can like come up and check.
Actually go and check it out and have
Right.
some awesome artwork by Artistic Gold.
Right. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna do that. He's gonna have it up in the next couple of weeks. Stacy's got a couple of paintings up there, and we're gonna make it. I mean, I kind of want to make it. This is slightly an overstatement, but like a Meow Wolf experience.
Mhm.
Have you been to Meow Wolf?
Mhm.
Okay. Which one?
Just the one here in
In
Denver.
Denver. Did you? I went to the one in Denver. Was not blown away
Mm-hmm.
there, but I heard the best room was like closed.
Oh, the bottom floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had that closed for a while.
Yeah, I was like,
And that was like the best room.
okay. So because I went to the one in Vegas and it was so legit, I was like, this is awesome. And we want to have something, and I guess I already mentioned this the other night at the party, but yeah, we want people to have like a little bit of a reason, like, hey, let's go check out the SHEATH store,
Mm-hmm.
take a selfie and get some underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's yeah, do that. That's going to be good.
I'm excited. We're very, enthusiastic about the future here. 2022 is a little funky. Are you you're just nothing but growth, right? Or no?
We moved offices. So we were in, if you're familiar with Colorado Springs at all, I know you are. We were in the Rockrimmon area before, and then we moved to the most growing part of Colorado Springs, which is right off of like Northgate area. It's technically off of the new Voyager exit.
Oh yeah.
Right next to Top Golf, right next to
Academy.
there in Shields. No, not too close to Academy.
No, the Academy.
Oh.
The Air Force Academy.
Yeah, across the highway from the Academy.
Yeah.
And so that slowed us down a little bit.
Okay.
But with what we do the past couple months, and it's
You're back, baby.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah.
When you do something just like you, man, like when you're doing something that's not unique, right? You aren't selling Hanes underwear. We aren't doing traditional chiropractic. We don't just crack people and hope that they feel better.
Yeah.
Like people find you, people understand the difference, and we were really, really blessed and really, really fortunate to have it just be on an awesome, awesome growth trajectory. Even though we moved and it slowed down for a couple months.
It is very unique, and you do provide a great service, just like us at SHEATH Underwear.
Zing.
And yeah, I mean, business is always a challenge, and you just kind of roll with the flow and go overcoming challenges. Like that's our job on a pretty much day-to-day basis or whatever. And we've both been growing for the past few years. Ever since I met you, you had your business and I had my business, and we've just had our evolution. So we're doing something right. It's probably all the meditation and visualization.
Dude, it helps.
It helps.
It really, really does.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
So don't wait. Start meditating and visualizing your future.
It's 20 minutes for yourself every single day.
And it feels good. I love it. Sometimes I'm like, just like, I'll be like, thank you, God, for this moment right now where I'm meditating, because it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then that's a state of gratitude, right? And gratitude is a state of receiving. And so if you're constantly in a state of like, I'm so thankful, thank you, God, for this moment, thank you for all these other wonderful things in your life, then you're going to feel more like that dude every single moment of every single day.
And that's all I ever wanted.
Dude.
And this was a great conversation. I'm very pleased to have you. I'm glad we finally did it. This is exactly what I wanted, why I wanted you to come on. I think we could probably touch on quite a few other areas, but maybe we can do it again in a few months.
Whenever you want.
You're the best.
We'll just put it on the calendar.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Thank you. Thank you. Point to them and say thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we will be back next week with a brand new episode. I got a couple of options. I think his name is David. He's like a psychedelic guru, shaman.
Whoa.
Yeah. We could get into that kind of stuff too, but it's kind of young, so I'm not but we'll it's either him. No. The next one is Louis J. Gomez from Gas Digital Network. Legion of Skanks co-host of Yo MMA Raps. He's a comedian. He's been on Rogan a few times. And then David will be the next week probably. And just be flexible on that, because I haven't locked it in with Louis J yet, but he did agree. He's going to be another big guest, just like Max here. And we're very excited. So thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me, Bobby.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Satnam, sir. That was very fun.